page, we are going to take notes on one of the most important things in art, which is called color theory. Color theory has everything to do with the color wheel and the artist's color wheel, to be specific. Color theory is all about relationships. It is about how red relates to green. It's how does red relate to yellow? Will those two combine to make orange? Why do these colors that sit next to each other matter? So all of this stuff is called color theory. And you can take entire college courses on just color theory if you become an art student someday. In our sketchbook, we are going to sort of set up a page, and we're going to do this in a few parts here, so leave yourself room for everything. You could do this on a piece of paper too. We're going to set up a page about some of the basic stuff with color theory. First thing we absolutely need to know is that these three right here are the primary colors. So give yourself a little scribble at the top of the page. I gave myself a title to the page. I like to treat my sketchbook and my note pages sort of like an art journal. So notice I didn't just scribble out color theory. I took a moment to write it nicely, and I appreciate it when my students do that. Red, yellow, and if you haven't guessed, blue make up our primary colors. So I just did a little scribble, and I'm going to make a note to myself. These are called our primary colors, and I want that noted in your sketchbook so you can never forget it. The primary colors make all of our secondary colors. So the next thing I'm going to do here today is give myself a little practice time. So I'm going to draw this 3 times. I'm going to draw a little blob of paint and 2 circles next to it. We're going to take a primary and a primary, and we're going to mix them together to create our secondary. We're not just going to grab the orange pencil or the orange crayon out of the crayon box. We're going to take the 2 colors, overlap them until we create that secondary color. So go ahead and do that 3 times. Take a moment right now. These ones right here are going to be our secondary colors. We're going to create all the secondary colors. Now, as we are doing this, you're going to start. You can do whatever color pairs you want to do with your primaries in whatever order. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go ahead and color in the red circle. Coloring matters. We are in art. I expect perfect coloring. That is not acceptable. Keep going until you have a nice, solid color of red. Press hard. You need to make this look almost like paint on the page. It should not look like a little kid's crayon drawing. So go ahead and go over that until it's nice and heavy. That is good habit with colored pencil. And it also works with crayon. It doesn't matter. They're both made of wax. On the other side, I'm going to choose yellow to be my other primary color. And same thing, I'm going to keep going until I have a really nice heavy layer of that yellow color. Now, one of the things I normally do when I teach color theory is do all of this with paint because it's a whole new experience. But we don't have paint at our fingertips right now, so we are going to work with our colored pencils, crayons, anything you have at home that kind of works like this. If anybody needs supplies, you just got to let me know. Now we're going to mix them. Here's the key. Yellow is wimpy. It is much weaker than red. That's something to keep in mind with colored pencils. It's also important to keep in mind if you were using paint. Yellow gets dominated really quickly. So I'm going to start with my yellow because I don't want to lose that color. And I'm just going to go kind of lightly here. I made you do this paint shape because I want you working on not just coloring in a simple circle, but also trying to work a shape that has these like appendages, these egg legs basically. Now to start mixing, I'm going to add my red. I'm doing this really lightly. I'm not trying to go heavy yet. Colored pencils don't mix if you go really heavy right away because that red would just take over. Does that look like orange? Maybe a little bit, but not yet. I'm going to do another layer of yellow. So this is what I'm looking for, you guys. You're building up layers with your color pencil. I'm going to push a little heavier this time. I'm doing a second layer, and you will actually start to see that wax color start to mix on the page a little bit. And I'm going to go again with my red, and I'm going to keep going back and forth with these 2 colors, making these layers mix together until I start to see something that looks like an orange color. Now, will it look just like the orange that comes right off your colored pencil? No, probably not. But if you lean back from this you will start to see orange. And that's the important thing, is that your eyes start to realize yellow and red make orange. Okay, it's getting better now. I'm going to go a little bit heavier. And then I'm going to move on to my other primary color pairs to create the rest of the secondary colors. If you haven't guessed, our secondary colors are orange, green, and violet. Violet is the technical word we use on the color wheel. It is the same as purple in my opinion in terms of mixing some basic colors. Okay, I think this looks pretty good for orange, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to making the rest of my colors. You can pause the video and get started, or you can watch me color for a minute. It's up to you. Talk for a second about what primary colors and secondary colors means. Primary colors are the three colors that create the entire rest of the color wheel. Okay, they cannot be made from any other colors. That's important to know. We'll just say can't be made. I can't take orange and something else and create red. Red is red, and you need red and yellow to make orange. That's just how it goes. They're the most important colors. Secondary colors are made from the primary colors. So let's make a note of that. Made, whoa, just skip right into that D. Made, I'm going to turn that into a fancy A. Made by mixing two primaries. Okay, important to know. Those are the definitions of a primary and a secondary color. As we move forward, there's something else called tertiary colors, also called intermediate colors. You can call them whichever you like. Find something to trace a circle on your page over here. We are going to start coloring in a color wheel. I went and found a little bowl in my kitchen. Now this is the color wheel that we're attempting to copy. This is an artist's color wheel. You need to start dividing up your circle. This circle needs 12 sections. Grab a ruler. Grab a piece of folded paper. A folded piece of paper is perfect for making a straight edge. My first step to section out this color wheel is going to be to divide it in half and divide it in half again. Next step, I want to divide each one of these 4 sections that we've created into 3 more sections. Think of it like cutting up pizza. So I'm just going to make an eyeball here. I need kind of equal looking sections. So I'm just going to connect that dot to the middle of my crosshairs here. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for each section until I have 12 pieces to this pie. We need 12 sections to make the color wheel. Okay. So now you have 12 pieces to the pie. If you're not sure, stop and count them. Then let's go ahead and label out our color wheel. First color, I usually typically put red at the top. Red and yellow sits down here, create orange. So in between red and orange, what's going to happen? I'm going to just write OR. I'm running out of room on my page. We know that means orange. Red is a primary, orange is a secondary. These two colors combine to create a color called red-orange. Fancy, I know. Red-orange is a tertiary color. It's the third kind of layer of colors that we can create on the color wheel. Going around the color wheel, it goes like this: red, red-orange, orange. The next one is yellow-orange. I'm out of room here, so I'm just going to do a Y and an O for yellow-orange. My next color is yellow. After that, if you can't guess, I'm going to go yellow-green. That is, again, a tertiary color. After yellow-green, green. Then we're moving around the color wheel into the cool section. So we're moving into the blue range. From green, we're going to have blue-green. Notice the formal way of doing this is to always say the primary color first. So it's blue-green. That's the name of that tertiary color, not green-blue. So blue-green. After blue-green, we're going to have blue. From blue, we're moving into the purple section here. So blue-violet. If you'd rather say blue-purple, it does not matter to me. Then violet. And lastly, red-violet. Now, if you haven't guessed, you are coloring in this little color wheel. But for this part of the assignment, I'm okay with you grabbing your crayons, colored pencils, whatever you're working with here, and you can get those secondary colors for doing our mixing. It's okay by me. So to start here, I'm going to go ahead, color in my red section. You can jump around on the color wheel because it's all labeled. If you want to do all your primaries first, that's fine. They need to be nice and heavy, like I've said before. Now, just like we did over here, we're going to start mixing colors. You're going to mix red and orange to create red-orange. I'll pause for a second and color in orange so we have a nice scale to look at that we can compare. The color in between red and orange should be different from red and from orange. Time to start mixing red and orange. I'm going to do that by, just like before, really light layers that we're going to build up to create this color mixing. So I started with my weaker color, in this case it is orange. Then I'm going to take my stronger color and do a very light layer over that. And switch back and forth. From here on out, I'm going to go ahead and continue this process all the way around the color wheel. You might want to just take the colors you already have and fill in those spots and then start combining them to make your tertiary colors. Before I leave you to work on this, I want that definition written down. We'll call them the tertiary colors. And these are made by mixing a primary with a secondary. Whoa, can't spell. Secondary. Ta-da! Go ahead and finish your color wheel.